to the end of the chapter. Now we on to the next page. Thought it was happy ever after. Then it changed. Baby, I'm missing you from my storyline. Baby, it was me and you once upon a time. I got about 1,000 pictures on my phone, and you remember I was holding you, wishing I was home with you. Been in my dome since you left the kid alone in this residential gone. Could you just pick up the phone with you? Missing the kisses you get when shit was ridiculous in this life that I was living.
Welcome back to the Moonchild Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah KB, and today we're going to be talking about people pleasing and why you should stop that shit. All right. So, people pleasing is very common. You understand? We as a society, we're not strangers to people pleasing, right? It occurs a lot. You know, it's pretty normal. One of the main ways this even occurs is somewhere within childhood. You understand? Childhood, a childhood where you have a certain dynamic with a certain parent or both parents and or caretakers. You know what I'm saying? Whoever raised you. But a lot of times, this is where the people pleasing starts to develop, is within the childhood. And within these dynamics, within these relationships with parents. So what I mean by that, when I say that, is like, it's like the parent is insisting that you be a certain type of way, and if you're not that type of way, they pull back their attention and love and affection and things like that, to in a way punish you for not being who they want you to be. You understand? They a lot of times have a mold that they want their child, their ideal child, to fit. Instead of actually getting to know who the fuck you actually are, they give you a way to be, and when you don't live up to that, when you don't fulfill that for them, they tend to they tend to punish you for not being what they want you to be, not living up to their expectations of you as their child. You understand? So the child learns fairly quickly that in order to get the love and affection and the time that they naturally desire from their parents and or caretakers, they have to adapt, and they have to actually become what the parent is looking for within them in order to feel the feeling of love and affection, and things that children need from their caretakers or their mothers, fathers, or whatever. You understand? Like, you're really trying to get approval at this point. So you're doing what you have to do, what you feel like you have to do. And in that situation, what you would actually have to do in order to get the proper attention that you desire to get, the proper approval that you desire to have. And this plays a part in how you feel about yourself, and feeling accomplished in a lot of ways, right? Like, if you can fulfill these shoes for them, you feel like, accomplished. You feel like you're doing something. Here's the thing, though. When you grow up and you go out into the world, what you don't realize is that dynamic that you had with your parents has slowly but surely molded your perspective on how to get love and affection and attention, right? So now you associate these ways of thinking, these ways of being, and this behavior from your parents, and you associate all of this with things like love. You associate this with things like, um, you know, you think this is normal behavior. You think there's no problem here. There's, you know, it's normal for you. It's been normalized. This is your introduction to life. So you think you don't know any other way. It's like, in order to, have be a good friend, I have to be a doormat. I have to become what my friends need me to become in order for for me to uh be a good boyfriend. I have to be a fucking doormat. I have to do exactly whatever she wants me to do. Now, mind you, obviously these things don't work out, but that's because you're starting to embody desperate energy. You're not doing it on purpose, but I'm going to tell you why desperate energy repels everything that you actually want in life in a second. So it's not this is something that you do want to do shadow work on, and you do want to move away from. You do want to evolve from this state. But I'm letting you know right now, it's normal. People actually go through this all the time. And these dynamics from childhood actually do affect you when you get older. I know so many cases like this. So yeah, it's just, now in your mind, the behavior that your parents, the things that your parents did, you basically look at it like, okay, well, this is normal. This is what I'm supposed to do. If I want people's love, affection, attention, I have to become whatever they need me to be in order to get that approval. Nobody was actually trying to nurture who you were in the beginning. They were too busy trying to tell you who you were. So I'm going to present to you a couple ways on how to evolve past this state. You understand? How to move out of this vibration, move out of this way of thinking and being, things that you can practice. You understand? For one, first thing I'm going to always say, in most cases, it's going to be shadow work. Okay? Shadow work is so key for so many things. It's really important that you do shadow work in these situations because it's deeply rooted and it's something that you're not going to get over overnight. You understand? People pleasing is something that you have to face head on at the root of it. You feel me? If you're trying to shortcut it, if you're trying to like cut corners and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna just speak positive about myself. I'm gonna just act more confident. I'm a try to be a different person. The thing about it is, like, when you have things that are deeply rooted, unless you actually deal with the root of it, it's not going to work. Because your foundation is faulty. Your foundation is weak. It's in opposition to what you're trying to build on top of it. You can't just put a bunch of positive shit on a bunch of negative shit and thinking, if I pile enough on, then who knows the difference and it'll go away on its own. No, it will not. I've said this before, time does not do shit on its own. Time doesn't heal on its own. It doesn't heal anything on its own. You have to actually put in the time and the effort to heal past that. You understand? These are wounds that a lot of us suffer from. You know what I mean? Feeling abandoned, feeling like, you had to not be yourself in order to get the things that you wanted to receive. The basics. Love, compassion, pats on the back, to be celebrated in some sort of way about things that you've accomplished, things that you're proud of. You know what I'm saying? You probably would have been a completely different person had that dynamic with your parents been different. You know what I mean? You could have turned out a completely different way if you didn't feel like you had to please them. But when you fall into this loop, it translates and it spreads to everything else, every other dynamic in your life. You understand? Now you're just trying to be liked. You're just trying to get people to like you, trying to get people to love you, and you're willing to mold yourself into whatever you feel like you need to do at that point in time to get that. And that's not okay. It's okay if you've done it up to this point, but now that you have this information, you're going to have to move a little different. Now it's on you. Now the responsibility is on you. You were a child when that happened to you, but now we're adults. And it's time to do something about that. So shadow work. Sit with that. Deal with those tough feelings that's going to come up, because they're going to come up. They're going to come up. Just deal with them. It's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to practice boundaries. Okay? People pleasers have the hardest time with boundaries. I don't care if you're an empath. I don't care if, you just feel people's pain. None of this shit is an excuse. Okay? We're going to have to practice boundaries. We're going to have to get serious about our boundaries, get serious about how much we allow people to take and how much we give to people when we don't have anything to give. You know what I'm saying? We got to watch that shit. That's not okay to drain yourself behind other people. Self-sacrificing is not a deeper form of love. It's actually a form of self-abandonment. You understand? So everything you were taught, when you see people just go out their way and and they're tired as fuck, they're misled too. If you came up around that shit, you see a bunch of people doing it. Just because it's a lot of people doing it does not mean it's the right thing to do. It just means a lot of people don't know what the fuck is going on. So, ignore that shit. Any example you had of that, it's cool. Their heart was in the right place, but when you boil it down when you get down to the basics of it, you get down to the foundation of that shit, what it was built on top of, it was self-abandonment. It was, I have to do this in order to have people, to have somebody. You know what I'm saying? And when you're desperate for that love and that affection that you never got, it comes off as needy. You understand? You might wonder why you have a hard time hanging on to friends, keeping relationships, because everybody wants to break up with you and get away from you, and or whatever, like or something along those lines. It'll feel like that, right? Well, it's because that energy that started with those dynamics and those ways of thinking when you were younger, it manifested into needy energy, desperate energy. You understand? A really needy, vibration that's coming off of you. So when you approach people and you're doing your regular 1-2s and these dynamics that you have, these friendships that you have or whatever, you will notice that a lot of people are a lot more standoffish towards you than they might be towards other people. And it's simply because you now are carrying this desperate energy about you, and it pushes people away. It's like the celebrity fan dynamic. People aren't even doing it on purpose. People are not trying to shit on you. You know what I mean? They're not trying to be standoffish and not trying to sometimes avoid you. It's just the energy. You treat somebody like a celebrity, they have to treat you like a fan. For no other reason other than that's just how the energy works. You understand? It's polarity. There's a yin and yang. There's two sides of a coin. So when you find yourself being in these situations, which most people pleasers do, this is what it is. This is what's happening. A lot of people pleasers do this thing, or they always say, you know what I mean? They always say, well, I do so much for people, man. I do so much. I give, and nobody gives a fuck about me. Nobody gives anything back to me. I'm just always the one who's, chasing them down and trying to make sure our friendship's good, our relationship's good. I bend over backwards. I become anything you want me to be, and it's still not enough. And just people are just shit, man. Like people, I'm just so holier than thou. You know what I mean? I give every, you know what I mean? And again, it's understandable. So many people have gone through this, and it's no shortage of this shit happening, right? But as a friend, I want to tell you that in order to stop this shit from happening, you actually have to start embodying who you actually are. Okay? Get into your own body. Practice being who you are. Get to know who you are. Spend time in solitude. Get to know, get into hermit mode. You know what I mean? Like really spend time with yourself. Really think about who you are. This will be the third thing that I'm recommending. What was the first one? The first one was damn, what was the first one? I should have wrote this down. I should have had notes. I don't have notes today. Shadow work. That was the first one. I don't know. I forgot shadow work. As much as I talk about it. So, shadow work is first, and then boundaries. Being setting boundaries and being stern on your boundaries. Don't let nobody fuck you out of those, and they will try. And the third thing would be getting to know who you are. You understand? And this will send you well on your way out of the people pleasing mode. You know what I mean? This should help you transcend people pleasing. Okay? When it comes to boundaries, you have to be careful because when you have so we all know, and if you don't know, I'm telling you now, we teach people how to treat us. You teach people how to treat you. Right? So whatever you've let people get away with, this is why they're doing it. Okay? And here's something that's crazy about, transcending the people pleasing situation, right? You're gonna find out a lot of people don't really fuck with you. They never really did. It was just you were so easy to manipulate, and you were the person to do whatever they wanted you to do without understanding your own boundaries, that they took advantage of you purposely. Some not on purpose, others on purpose. And they were there, they stuck around simply to continue to use you. Right? Because you made it so easy for them. So you're gonna find that when you do set these boundaries, a lot of these people will disappear. Okay? They'll no longer try and pretend to be your friend because they can no longer get what they used to get from you. So now when they call you for that favor that you don't feel like doing because you need a day for self-care and you need to, stay in your own bubble and for no other fucking reason than you want to, with no explanation to any fucking body else, you just want to do what you want to do that day because it's your life, your fucking rules, right? Your time to yourself. Your idle time to yourself. And they call you for that motherfucking favor they want from you, right? And you don't feel like doing that shit. And that's it. It's just no. Can't do it today. And they try to drag it on and, what you doing today? and try to manipulate you, play on your emotions, because they know that you're usually, due to your old behavior, they could usually talk you into doing shit that you don't feel like doing. Sometimes don't even try to talk you into it. When you're in people pleasing mode, you just say yes to a bunch of shit, which means you're saying no to yourself, right? But yeah, once they can't take advantage of you in that way, they kind of don't see any use for you anymore. They kind of want to see you, they see you as an enemy now. So now they're talking shit, or they fall out with you, or they just don't call you no more. They don't check on you no more. You find that, y'all just fell off. That is one of the most beautiful things to happen. Let those people go. Fuck them. They weren't for you anyway. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. It was one-sided. They don't fuck with you. Okay? So now when you start to get more so in your skin, you're living in your body, you expressing yourself, you getting to know your do's, your don'ts, your likes, your dislikes, your hates, your loves, and you're really being true to who you are, expressing who you are, being who you are naturally, fully walking in your power, walking in your essence. You are now going to attract the people that you are supposed to be around. So these ain't shit people get replaced by people who are worthy of you. People who match where you're actually at in life, instead of who you had to pretend to be, or you felt like you had to pretend to be this whole time. I know it can be scary because you don't know what's on the other side of something you've never done, but I guarantee you that it's going to be worth it. And where you end up in life is going to be everything you ever dreamed of. You're going to actually get the start of your life that you needed in order to pursue anything you actually wanted to do. And you're going to find out a lot about yourself that might shock you. I mean, you might be into something you never thought you were into, career-wise, the type of women for my fellas out there that you're into, the type of men that you're into for the ladies. Just be your authentic self. Nurture that part of you now. Maybe your parents didn't do it, but we're adults now and we have to take our life into our own hands. You understand? So the responsibility is now ours. Do I got anything else before I get out of here? The desperate energy that comes from the people pleasing will repel people by nature. I said I was gonna get into that. I think I kind of did already, but just to brush up on that a little bit. When you are pushing your energy outward, like say you're into a person, you got your eye on a certain person, right? You might think due to your people pleasing ways, you got to go above and beyond to get their attention, to get on their radar, to get in their world. You know what I mean? You're so busy trying to get into their world, right? So you might think going through these great lengths would be the thing to do, to show them that you're serious, to show them that you're committed and that you really want this. In actuality, this is the exact opposite of where you're supposed to be going. This is the wrong way. But when you're pushing this outward, right, it's repelling because that's just how the energy feels. It pushes. You're pushing. When you're trying too hard, you're energetically pushing. When you're pushing outward, you're actually pushing energetically, and it's repelling people. So if you're in a scenario where you're trying to attract a person, you actually have to feel worthy enough to even be in that person's presence. You have to feel equally as attractive. So a lot of times what you should be doing as a practice, or what you can do as a practice, is like, the attraction you feel about them, point it inward. Feel that way about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, can I get your approval? It's, do I approve of you? I'm looking you over. I'm seeing like, okay, I'm impressed. I like that. I'll spend my time with you. I might, I might see what you about just to, you know what I'm saying? Like, see if I'm really interested. You understand that reverses the dynamic. This is more of the way you need to be thinking, and you need to, especially us fellas, you got to get in your body. You can't let these women get you out your body like that. You understand? Understand what you are. Understand who you are as people. Women too, as people. Understand who you are. Value yourself, and your aura will come off a lot more attractive. The energy will come off a lot more attractive. Am I saying that you're not attracting anybody? Of course not, because the very thing that you're not doing with the person that you want to attract, you're actually doing by default with the people who are chasing you already. Deem yourself as worthy. Deem yourself as just as attractive. Deem yourself as the shit, But of course, you can't attract a specific person unless they have an attraction to you naturally. But you can, of course, attract your archetype, right? You know what I'm saying? We can use people as archetypes. Don't obsess over one person, please. Don't obsess over one person. It's not cool. It's not attractive. It's really, let's work on that if y'all are doing that. That's really all I got, man. That's all I got for tonight. With the people pleasing. Make sure. Yeah. That's the basics of it, man. So, this has been the Moonchild Podcast with the Moonchild, his motherfucking self, Elijah KB. I'm going to check y'all later, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. For those interested in spiritual advice, I now have a page where you can sign up for a one-on-one hour session with myself. The link will be in the description. And for any questions and topics for the podcast, feel free to email them to me.